Welcome to the Explainer. When we talk about SAP S/4HANA finance migrations, there's one thing that trips people up more than anything else: a lack of preparation. So today, we're going to fix that. We're going to build the essential blueprint. The groundwork you absolutely have to do before you even start. This is all about making sure your project is smooth and predictable right from the get-go.
Okay, so here's our game plan. It's pretty straightforward. We're going to walk through the critical prep phase, talk about scope and those tricky restrictions, cover the transitions you have to make, figure out how to navigate all those SAP notes, and then we'll wrap it all up with a final pre-migration checklist. Sound good? Let's dive in. All right, first up, the critical preparation phase. This is everything. It's all about laying a solid foundation for the entire project.
Now that might sound like a bold statement, but honestly, it's true. Think about every major headache you could hit during a migration. I'm talking data inconsistencies, scope creep, unexpected downtime. Almost every single one can be traced right back to a shortcut somebody took in this initial phase.
And that's exactly where Prechecks come into play. Seriously, think of them like a home inspection before you buy a house or a building inspection before you start construction. They're designed to help you find and fix all those little data inconsistencies and configuration errors now when it's cheap and easy, instead of, later when it could completely derail your entire project.
And this right here, this is probably the single most important thing you're going to do. Before you install even one component, you have got to make sure you have a complete verified backup. Look, this isn't just some best practice suggestion. It is literally your project's undo button. Just don't even think about moving forward without it.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, Scope and Critical Restrictions. So we've got our safety net in place with the backup. Now it's time to really read the fine print on the blueprint.
The whole process here follows a pretty simple logic, right? First, you've got to read the official SAP notes to really understand the rules of the game. Then, you analyze how those rules, and especially the restrictions, are going to apply to your specific system landscape. And finally, you build a plan to fix any gaps you find. Simple as that.
So what are we looking at? Well, these are the key areas you really need to put under a microscope. Take parallel valuation, for example. S/4HANA just handles it differently. If you don't dig into that up front, you could be looking at massive reconciliation nightmares in your financial reporting after you go live. And it's the same story for any custom add-ons or industry solutions you're running.
All right, Section 3 is all about your mandatory application transitions, and the key word here is mandatory. These are the core pieces of the new structure that are totally non-negotiable.
Look, this isn't just a simple upgrade. It is a fundamental shift in how things work. You have to move to applications like the new General Ledger, you'll hear it called New GL, and the new Asset Accounting. The big takeaway here is that S/4HANA is really simplifying the whole data model. It's merging modules like FI and CO into one single source of truth, which is the Universal Journal. So planning for these transitions, it's not just a side task, it's a core part of the entire project.
Okay, on to Section 4, Navigating with SAP Notes. Here's a good way to think about it. If the migration is your construction project, then SAP Notes are your official building codes and technical manuals. You just can't build this thing correctly without them.
This first batch of notes, this is basically your reality check. Before you get too far down the road, you absolutely need to read the note on cash management licensing to see if you're even covered. Or check out the one on S/4HANA restrictions to understand what functionality might be changing on you. This is the official stuff, the documentation that really defines the boundaries of your whole project.
Now, this next set of notes is all about being ready for operations. This is where you find the answers to those make-or-break questions. Stuff like, are our current add-ons even compatible? Or do the transaction codes our users live and breathe by still exist? And, of course, what country-specific localizations do we need to deal with? This is the homework you do to make sure the new system is actually going to work for your business from day one.
And that brings us to our final section, your final pre-migration checklist. Think of this as the final site inspection right before you break ground. Okay, let's pull this all together. What you're looking at here isn't just a random list of tasks. It's really a chain of dependencies. Each one builds on the last.
Your backup? That protects you. The SAP notes? They define your scope. Analyzing the impact? That prevents nasty surprises down the line. And planning those mandatory transitions ensures everything actually works. Taking every single one of these boxes means you're not just ready, you're truly prepared for success.
So by following this blueprint, you've really taken what could be a super chaotic process and turned it into a structured, manageable build. The plan is ready, the foundation is absolutely solid. So the only question left is for you. Are you prepared to build,